Okay. So I had noticed that Beachbody is really wonderful about offering returns and doing the money back guarantee. And it's supposed to only be 30 days, guys. So if you are noticing that returns are occurring past 30 days, and it like when you look at it, the return may be like a month and a half. Well, most likely they called within that 30-day window. But if you're looking at it and it's been 2 months or 3 months, or in my case, I had somebody do a return from 6 months ago. This just happened the other day. And Beachbody gave them a refund. And when you do returns, that docks your Success Club points, that docks your commission, that docks your volume. So you really want to make sure that you're checking your orders. And when you're having returns, you want to see when did they first purchase that order. So I've had it happen to me twice where Beachbody has offered a refund to somebody that was actually 3 times. 2 people, it was 6 months past, which I'm really surprised anybody would even try to ever return something that they've had for 6 months, but whatever. So 2 people returned something after 6 months and got refunded by Beachbody, and they docked everything from me. So I had to do a coach online chat, and they have reimbursed me my commission and my volume. So make sure that you're looking into that, because somehow it just slips through the cracks and we end up paying for it as coaches. And then I had somebody else that I think it was like 2 months past, and they had reimbursed them. So just make sure that you're going through on your returns and that you're checking it and that it's within that guarantee window, because I'm noticing it in my own business. And typically it's usually just a Shakeology return. Okay, and so our webinar for the team is next week. It's next Tuesday. And, so it'll be the same thing where we do the live webinar, and you guys can invite people that you've been talking to about coaching. One thing that I found to be really successful that I've done at the last couple rounds, and actually got people that I didn't have any idea that was really even interested in coaching, was doing an event page. Not a group, but an event page. And so I did an event page. I created my own cover page, and I was able to post about the event. I was able to give them information on how to access the Zoom call, how to make sure they have Zoom downloaded. And I was even able to jump in there and just kind of personally tell my story, which, is really great for you guys, because when people jump on the webinar, they hear my story, but they want to hear your story too. So it's really nice to do an event page where you can go on there. You could actually be live on the event, so you can use that live feature. Or if you want to do a recorded video yourself and then upload it into the event. But I found that to be really successful. I've sent like random people invites out, and surprisingly, I had a few that I did not know was interested in coaching, that ended up clicking that they were interested. So, and I think actually, Candace, you may have been one of them. Yeah. See, I had no clue that you were interested in coaching until I did that event page. So you just never know. And I don't think I had ever asked her if she wanted to do coaching, but the fact that I had this event page, it gave her an opportunity to say, hey, I'm interested. And then it gave us a chance to connect. And so I think those are really successful for me, and I know for other coaches. So I do suggest doing an event page and inviting people to it, and then even getting on there and telling your story of why you became a coach, and just giving your own little tidbit about Beachbody. And then, also kind of finding out those people who click interested. If they're not available to the webinar, then they can send the recording. Sometimes people think, well, I got something going on Tuesday night. I'm not even going to tell them I'm interested because I can't be there. I can't be on to listen. And so that way in your event page, you can basically kind of say, hey, it's going to be a recording. If you can't make it, let me know, and then go ahead and start giving a little bit of information in that event page. You don't have to be specific. You could just, I think the best thing is just to kind of tell your story, your why you became a coach and what it's done for you. Okay, I think that is all. Oh, one more thing. One thing that I was talking to another coach about the other day was just about, with the month of June, like for for me, it's just been kind of slow, and it's really typical for the summer months. This is my second year as a coach. So I did notice this last year during my business because people are on vacation, people are getting back from vacation, people are going on vacation, people have kids in sports. And so, I've gotten a lot of no's myself, or a lot of people commit, or then they didn't end up like following through. So it's going on to me too. And I know that everybody else has been kind of having the same issue where it's just been kind of a slow month, and we all just have to kind of get back past that hump. And I know a lot of coaches are doing a free grilling challenge, or just trying to make sure that they're following up with people and staying in touch with them and reminding them about the sale. But another thing that I think another coach and I was talking about is how people are wanting to work out outside. And I get that because I want to work out outside. I actually worked out outside today because Chris and Maurice are out there. I want to be outside with them. So I think a big feature that we can kind of show off as coaches is the on-demand, because a lot of times I take my computer outside. I do my workouts outside. So that's something that I posted a lot about during the summer, not really specifically thinking that I'm going to attract people to want to like get the on-demand and do workouts outside, but just because that's where I was at doing my own workouts. So I think that if you have on-demand, that's one thing that you can kind of talk about is, if people are wanting to have some kind of structure in their fitness, but they still want to be outside, that's not an obstacle. And like I told Chris, tonight I didn't do a fitness program, and I said, I feel like I don't really know what to do. I feel kind of lost. So I did lunges down, back and forth down the driveway. But when I have my program going and I take it outside, I just feel like I got a better workout because I'm actually following something. So, I mean, that's something that you can kind of even talk about in your post, that when you go outside, you want to work out, but you're just really not sure what you want to do until you put your on-demand on and you end up doing whatever workout program you do. So, okay. I think that's all I have to talk about. Let me get to my slides. How do I do share screen now?
Share screen.
Where's that? Oh. Can you guys see my slides? Yeah.
Thumbs up. All right.
Yeah. Okay, let me click play. All right. Everybody still see everything? Sweet. Okay. I don't know why that covers the bottom. Okay. So national wake-up calls are awesome. I fought them for a really long time. I didn't listen to them because, for one thing, I didn't know that there was something called podcasts where I can get on and listen to the recording. Another cool feature, if you don't have podcasts, because I know sometimes the iPhone, people who are not iPhone users are having a difficult time figuring out the podcast, which I think it's an app. So if you do have a Droid, you can still get on. But there's also a playback number that stays on for a week. I like podcasts because I can fast forward or rewind, and you can do that on the playback number. So when I created these slides, I sat and listened to the podcast again today and fast forwarded and rewinded so I could sit and write down what these coaches were saying. So I do like that feature because of that. Let me minimize this. Okay, so I just wanted to just kind of review those calls that we had this week and last week. And this week was Erin Young, and she basically was talking about how do you run a business when you already work a full-time career, okay? So this was me. And, I think a lot of coaches, like I said earlier in my live video, they kind of look and think, oh, Danielle has all this time because this is her full-time job now. She does, she doesn't have to go to work. But that's not how I started out. I was working 4 days a week. I was working late hours. I came home to a toddler. I came home to wanting to do my workout, wanting to cook meals for my family, wanting to spend time with my husband. So how did I make it fit in? Find that time. So, basically she says, are you treating your business as a hobby? And So Chris, you'll hear him often say, your business, if you treat it like a six-figure business, it'll be a six-figure business. But if you treat it like this business where you make $50 a month or $50 a week, then that's what it's going to be. It's just going to kind of be a hobby. But if you're all in and you're taking the time to, really work on this, then it will grow. And that's what I did. And I seen that as I put in the time and I was consistent, I seen that happening. And it wasn't quick. I didn't become a diamond coach until I was 6 months into coaching. And I sat with only 2 coaches for 4 months. So, I didn't really have a team right off the bat. And I see coaches now, I see some coaches turning diamond in 90 days. That wasn't me. I was still with 2 coaches in 90 days. My husband and my friend Jessica. That was it. So what I wanted to kind of go over is, have you created business hours? This was really important for me. And I wanted to do this, but I didn't want it to interrupt family time. So I set business hours. When was I going to work on my business? And for me, what worked best was 9 o'clock. When Reese went to bed, when I'm doing this call right now. That's when I work my business. And so typically it was 9 to 11. And a lot of times it was me getting in like my power hour, my things that I had to do within that hour frame. And then that other hour frame, I wasn't ready to go to bed. So I was doing fun stuff. I was looking up recipes or creating posts for the next day. Or I was playing around with Canva or playing around with some of the apps. I did a lot of playing around too, but I made sure that I got in my power hour first. So everybody should have a power hour. So what's a power hour? We go over this in training. It's actually, I've done a video on it. The information's located in our album section, but you really have to create something that is like your power hour, your things that you have to get done. And I'm going to go over mine here shortly. Just kind of the things that I put at the top of the list. Not my whole power hour, but the things that I know if I achieve those things that day, my business is continuing to grow. And then she also talked about her not being able to really dedicate a power hour. She couldn't really do a power hour. She had to do what she called power pockets when she worked a full-time job. So what power pockets consisted of is finding that time, not making that time. So she did it in the morning before her kids got up. She, would sit she was a teacher, so she would sit in her room during lunch and not have that social time with other teachers, instead work her business. She would stay after school a little bit longer before she had to pick up her kids and, sit and do a little bit of Beachbody. And then when her kids went to bed, she would use that nighttime. So it doesn't have to be a straight hour. It's wherever you can fit it in. And I'll say, even for me, if I had a patient not show up, then that gave me the opportunity to go to the back in the break room and get on my phone really quick and do a post or check in with challengers or look at my challenge group. Now, when I was at work, could I really invite people to a challenge group or start a new conversation? No, I didn't have time to do that at work because I was working with my phone. But I did have time to check in with my challengers. I did have time to check in with my coaches. I did have time to look at the team page. I did have time to read over training. So, I got those things that I could do really quick on my phone done when I was at work if a patient didn't show up. Or the same thing with her. If I didn't have to pick up Reese yet and I stayed a little bit later at work and I sat and tried to do those little things. So finding those little power pockets of time that you can get things done. So every day could be different, is what she said. Some days, she may have more time. Some days she may end up, she may have ended up going to lunch with a friend or whatever. Every day was going to be a little bit different, but it was all about just trying to make sure that she got those vital behaviors done. So just remember, everyone is busy, but it's how you choose to use your minutes in the day. You want to embrace yourself as a business owner. Okay, so what is on your must-do list? For me, it is getting my fitness in that day. So for me, it's important to make sure I am having my workouts, because this is why we all started this, guys, because we want ourselves to be healthy. How can we help others if we're not healthy ourselves? So getting in your own personal workout, unless it's your rest day, And then the next thing that I would try and do is add 5 new friends. And so typically I say, anywhere from 3 to 5 new friends a day. I try to start 5 new conversations. Again, I usually say 3 to 5 new conversations. And these new conversations could really be, it doesn't have to be an invite. It doesn't have to be anything about Beachbody. It could just be a new conversation with a person that you haven't talked to in a while, reconnecting with somebody. Anymore, a lot of times my new conversations consist of me just introducing myself, telling them a little bit about what I do, and inviting them to check out my health and fitness page where I post a lot of recipes. So I do 5 new conversations a day, and I do 5 follow-ups. And then, my 5 follow-ups could be me following up with somebody that talked about wanting to do a challenge before, somebody that was interested in coaching, following up with somebody that did a previous challenge group, just some kind of follow-up. Here lately, I've done a lot of follow-ups where I've tried to restart a conversation, and so I sent them a recipe and said, hey, I'm sending everybody my favorite recipe today. Sent them a link to it because really all you have to do if you've done a previous post, click on the picture, copy and paste that URL, and then just send them that in the message. And I say, enjoy. Let me know if you try it. Have you been starting to do any more clean eating? And so usually I'll even ask a question, but just trying to offer them some kind of value that day in that follow-up. And then a huge one is invites. Now, especially as a new coach, I had a huge focus on just really doing cold invites with my warm market, making sure that I was inviting people to my challenge groups and telling them about it. And so again, we talk about that in training. So I'm not going to get into that too much because everybody should have already read through all of that during training too. But that should be, your priorities. That was my priorities. Those were the things that I knew would move my business forward. Okay, trackers. I love to keep it simple. I have a tracker that I post in training, and I'm going to show you guys at the end of these slides. It's the power of 3s. Basically, it's a very, very, very simplified tracker. And it's friending 3 new people a day, starting 3 new conversations today, talking to 3 new people about coaching or following up with them, doing 3 follow-ups, and what else is on there? Doing 3 invites to a challenge group. So it's very simple. It's one that I created on Google Docs, I think, and it's just a really basic tracker. Now, Brooke has done a really awesome tracker that she actually posts in our Push to Diamond group. So any of the coaches that are in that group, you've seen it. It's a lot more extensive, and Brooke and I have talked. We feel like it's not really the best for brand new coaches, but it's really good for coaches that have been coaching for a couple months, that are Emerald or and above, and they want a little more organization and structure. I don't have that on the team page like I do, but it's not easy to access. So I'm going to make a new little label for that, and I'll show you guys where I'll put it here in a little bit, just in case you want to check out her tracker too. It's awesome. It's just a little bit more extensive. I was never a big tracker person. I'm kind of more of a write down my power hour and check it off as I go. To make sure I get those things done that day. And that works better for me, but everybody works differently. Okay, so the next call was last week's call with Nikki Johnson, how follow up puts people first. This was a great, great, great call. And so basically she kind of gave us a few scripts on how she follows up and how to approach that. And I often have coaches ask me, how many times should I follow up if people are ignoring me or not talking to, or not, send me anything back, or they keep telling me no. So one of the big things that you learn, and not only from Beachbody coaching, but I've read this in a lot of personal development books, other leadership books, is, no often means no, not right now. And the cool thing is that Erin Young, the one who just did the call that was about being a coach that worked full time, she said she was asked 3 times to coach. And finally she decided, okay, I'm going to do it. And so she signed up only to be a discount coach. She had no intentions of coaching. She loved her job. She, thought, I'm going to retire as a teacher. I want to stay a teacher. And so then she got into coaching, and I think it actually took her 2 years of being a coach before she really started to get her business going and really kind of changed her mindset and really decided that, hey, I want to be there for my kids whenever they get on the bus. I want, who's going to pick them up? Who's going to drop them off? Who's going to be the one to take them to school? So you never know, guys. I know that, a lot of times we're signing up these discount coaches and, we're like, they just don't want to coach. Trust me, I've had coaches that have sat doing discounts for a year that all of a sudden are putting themselves into training, and they're starting to do training now and learn more about coaching. And so you just never know when people are ready. So never discount your discount coaches, and make sure you follow up with them and say, hey, I know that, you're just wanting the discount right now, but I just want to make sure that you know that I'm here to support you. And if you want to learn more about coaching, I'm more than happy to put you into training. I've done that a lot, and I've had a lot of coaches decide to jump in and join training. So never discredit those coaches, because like I said, Erin Young, who just did the last call, was asked 3 times and only signed up to be a discount coach. And now she's a 10-star diamond elite coach. So. Okay, so and another statistic is it takes women 7 times to ask them if they want to do something before they say yes. Okay.
Jeez.
Yeah, us women are indecisive. We can't make a decision. I totally get that. Create a system that works for you. So for me, and the girl Nikki Johnson said, some people are paper and pen. She said that didn't work for me. I'm paper and pen. I'm a notebook. I carry this notebook around. I check people off. I rewrite my list. That's what works for me. So you really got to find a system that works for you. For her, she needed alerts. She ended up using a system called Streak, which is an email system. I'm not a big email person. I'm like I said, I'm very much paper and pen. So you really got to figure out what kind of follow-up system's going to work for you. Okay, so when following up, don't say, give them your spill and then say, just let me know when you're ready. Because then you're putting the ball in their court. And it may seem kind of awkward if you go back later and follow up with them because they didn't let you know they were ready, right? So instead, you want to tell them you will follow up with them. So for example, hey, Danielle, I just wanted to check in and see if you were ready to start my next group. We are about to kick it off, and I wanted to make sure I saved a spot. Oh, gosh. Sorry, my misspelling. I put sport. Save a spot for you in my group. If not, no worries. I will follow up with you on the next group. I've started doing that a lot on my follow-ups. And even if somebody tells me, no, I got a lot going on right now this month, I say, hey, you know what? It's a sell this month, and I don't want you to miss the deal. I'm going to go ahead and follow up with you that last week in June just to see if that timing might be better, and plus to remind you of the sell price. I said that a lot at the beginning of June when people told me no. So now I have this big list of people I'm going to contact, and most of them replied back, thanks, that would be great. So, who knows? Maybe at the end of the month, it might be a little bit better for them. Okay, open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. So you always she also said it's kind of nice to be able to leave them with a open-ended or even a closed-ended question because they have to respond. So an open-ended question is where one requires more than one word to answer. Those are really probably the better questions to put. So if you're following up with somebody, you could also, if this is somebody or you've seen on social media that maybe like Chris and I just went to Disney, you could put on there, hey, how did you like Disney? What did you like? What resort did you stay at and what did you like best about it? So you can kind of ask them more questions. So in that follow-up, they don't just ignore you, but they actually have to answer politely the question that you asked, and hopefully they'll also give you an answer to joining your next group or if they want to do it. And, of course, a close-ended question is, if you answer a question, it simply just requires a yes or a no. And so sometimes, you really want to try and get a little more conversation going. I try not to close-ended questions. but asking a question at least at the end does allow them to make sure they respond. Okay, following up also means building that relationship. So this is huge. Just check in with them to see how they're doing. Like I said earlier, send them a PM with your favorite recipe. So I'm constantly doing that. And I actually have a challenger in my very last group. I have followed up with her for 2 months. And my last message before she had told me she wanted to join my challenge was sending her a recipe. I sent her a recipe that got our conversation going again. And she said, I'm ready to join the group. So, following up doesn't have to always mean that you're following up to ask them if they're ready to join the group. If you followed up with them like 3 months in a row, maybe the 4th month instead you ask them, hey, I've seen you went on vacation. Send them your favorite recipe. Sending them a recipe is so simple because for one thing, they've already reached out to you and showed interest in getting healthy. And for another thing, you're sending them a healthy recipe and you're offering them something for nothing and giving them value. So I think that's huge. Lately with my 5 follow-ups a day, that's what my follow-ups have been, is sending people recipes.
I actually started incorporating that too. And it's started a lot of new conversations. Really easy way to do that.
Yeah. And anymore, I don't focus on it trying to be a sell. So don't get discouraged if you send a recipe and all they send you back is thank you, I really appreciate it, I can't wait to try it. And that's all you get.
That's great if that's all. Really, that's, and then you follow up with, hey, did you try it? Or maybe they write you back, or.
Yeah, it's, we're in a business of building relationships. So, what I've learned is that if I focus on the person first, I don't focus on the sell. That's what makes me the best coach and the most successful. That's what has grown and helped me achieve the high success club points that I usually get every month, because that's my focus, is that person and their goals, and really just trying to offer them any kind of help I can. Even if I think as a coach, sometimes we get wrapped up in just our challengers, but, I have people that message me that have other coaches, that are a coach, but don't really get support. And I still try to answer their questions and help them out as much as I can and give them a little bit of my time. So, just putting people first in general is what is going to give you the respect. Okay, so it's about them and it's not about you. Remind them you remembered them and that they were once interested in something you had to offer. So, for example, you would say, hey, Danielle, I know that when we spoke last month, it was not a good time for you. But, oh, shoot, sorry, guys. But I told you I would get in touch with you when I started setting up this month's group. I just wanted to see if now is a better time for you. I would love to have you in my group and help you with losing those last 10 pounds. Are you ready? So basically, what you're doing is you always want to remember to reference their goals or something you spoke about in that last conversation. So in that example I just gave you, that person had said they wanted to lose 10 pounds, like that was their goal. So you always want to reference back to what you had previously talked about. And that's why I love Messenger, because I can sit and scroll back and be like, okay, what do we talk about? But it is a lot easier to track if you have a notebook and you have them written down in your follow-up, and you can, right beside it, what I'll do is write down, they want to lower their blood pressure, or they want to lose 30 pounds, or they want to be back to that pre-pregnancy weight. And then when I do message them again, I reference, what their goal was, and, I can ask them, are you ready now? So I think that's a really great way to do that follow-up. That way, they know you care about them and you care about their goals. And I think that's when it kind of takes out the sell aspect of it, and they know that, you actually remembered something about that conversation you had with them. All right. So let me do one more thing. I'm going to share on the team page. All right. So hopefully everybody that's went through training knows how to access this. If not, this is our team page. I have it actually over here on my favorites. So that way I can click and check it every day, which I do suggest that because we get a lot of updates that either I post, other coaches post, a lot of good info there. So you can go to photos. Now, if you guys see at the very top of the page, there's a pinned post. If you're on a desktop, it shows it just like this. If you're on your phone, you actually have to click this little icon that says pinned post, but it tells you exactly how to get to our album page, which I kind of call our reference or our resource page. So to get to those trackers, you go to photos, click albums, and there is 61 albums just full of coach information. But I'm going to go all the way to the back to one called Time Management Tools. In Time Management Tools, there's info about the Power Hour. We actually did a team call about Power Hour. Brooke did a really nice video on her tips for time management. We have how to use Postcron. I have another thing of how to create Facebook lists. There's just a lot of great things that'll help you manage your time a little bit better here. But here's this Power of Threes Coach Tracker. So you click on it, you go over here, you click on the caption, and it will send you over here to Google Docs. And you should be able to download, save this, and print it out. This is the weekly Power of Threes tracker. It's very, 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 very simplified, guys. This is like a very basic tracker. Like I said, I'm going to load Brooks to this exact same album, the time management album. It'll probably be right here. I'll do that tonight. And like I said, it's a little more extensive. It's not really the best for brand new coaches, but if you're an Emerald or above coach or you've been coaching for a while, it's a really nice tracker to have. I think it's actually a couple of pages, several pages maybe, but it's very detailed. If you're kind of like me and you want something real basic, the Power of Threes Coach Tracker is the one that I did. It's really simple. All right, so you guys are all muted, but if anybody has any questions, unmute yourself because that's, I think, all I got. Oh, I do have one more thing. The girl who was really busy that had the full-time job also talked about being able to use the voice feature on Messenger. I use the heck out of that, guys, because, and people love it. I actually had somebody message me back today. I think it was a challenger saying, oh my God, that was so cute. I can't believe you're able to talk to me. So it's kind of funny. I use it a lot with coaches when I'm driving. Leanne and I actually, we go back and forth all the time using this little voice thing. But that will really cut out a lot of your time. I'm not telling you to do that while you're driving. That is what I do, but I'm not telling you to do that while you're driving. You're not supposed to be doing that. But if you have kids running around crazy and you just want to try and get a quick message sent out, that voice thing is awesome. And it's nice for people to hear your voice. And so I actually did it today. Somebody asked me about ordering Shakeology. They wanted to renew their Shakeology, and they hadn't been on it in a year. And I sent them a message telling them really quick about the promo so they can get Extreme for $10. So they're going to end up getting the challenge pack. And I was able, instead of sitting there trying to text that out for like 5 minutes, which would have took me forever, I just did like a 1-minute message. And, you know, they messaged me back, hey, okay, that sounds great. I'm going to do that. So that the voice application is really handy. Okay, anybody have any questions?
Hey, Danielle, I want your advice on something. I have a couple of people who've been following me on my Facebook page, and they actually belong to another coach who is a local girl near me. And, you know, of course, she's not on our team or anything. And I think she's getting upset that her challengers are following my stuff and participating and things like that. How would you handle that?
Like, are they participating in your posts? Like what?
Yeah, they're not in my challenge groups, but like they're commenting on my post, and she's seeing that they're like watching my live feeds and stuff like that. And like, so much so she sent me a message and she was like, are you working with such and such? And I was like, no. I was like, absolutely not. She just follows my things, and, I just want to help and support. I don't know how to nicely handle that.
I would just tell them, hey, I respect that they're your customer, that your coach. I've never requested for them to do a coach switch. They just comment on my post, and I'm more than happy to answer if they have any questions, but I do respect that they're your challenger, and I would never take them from you.
And like I always tell them, and I even like screenshotted her picture so she could see when one of the girls messaged me, I was like, well, when you already have a Beachbody coach, that's like you're married to them, and you don't take another man's wife. And so, I sent that to her, but I mean, she's like, now she's started joining on my live feeds, and I don't know if she's looking for her challengers in my live feeds or what. It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's one that you just got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. If you've already told her that you respect that those are her challengers and that you don't have any intentions of trying to take them, then there's not much more that you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think you're doing everything you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody had my audio's spotty. I have a summit question. Brooke said she would post a list of things that we should bring for summit. Has she done that yet? Did I miss it? Do you have any advice? I don't think she's posted it. I do remember from last year. And for summit, I would say lots of water, energize, Shakeology. I told you today a phone charger, which for the coaches that are going, I've already got everybody a little phone charger. But if you already have one, 2 is okay too.
Healthy snacks, backpack.
Yeah.
It's 90 something degrees in Nashville, but you go into these sessions and it gets kind of cold. So we always kept like a long sleeve t-shirt in the bag or something, because
everybody's in fitness clothes.
Yeah.
Don't think you had to dress up. Now the nighttime events, the parties and stuff, it's nice to dress up for.
Yeah.
But during the day, the conference stuff, everybody's in fitness stuff because you have the workouts throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I would say she'll probably be posting that list pretty soon.
Pen and paper,
Yep. Pen and paper.
Plenty of room on your phone.
Yep. I think
that's all I can think of.
That's really about it. Did anybody else have any questions? No? All right, guys. Well, thanks for getting on the call. I hope the slides are helpful. I always like using the slides. But if you get a chance to go back and listen to the National Wake Up Call, it's awesome. I really covered a lot of the main points tonight, but just to sit and listen to their stories of how they became a coach is really motivating. And it's one of my favorite PDs. So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and everybody have a good night.
See you guys.